oh man, what a game between South Carolina and UConn, and then Texas versus UCLA. I was not expecting the drama that went down last night, and I certainly was not expecting Texas to get their butts handed to them by UCLA. Now, did they really get their butts handed to them? They really didn't, but they did play bad. But let's talk about the games in order, starting with the UConn South Carolina game. Okay, so we all know what went down with Gino and Don Staley by now. But before I even get into that, I want to do the Gamecocks due justice and talk about the game first. Even though I know that everybody wants to hear the gossip, the talk, the tea about Gino and Don Staley. And I have my opinions on that, which probably mimic a lot of other people's opinions that I have heard. Mine is really no different. But before we get into that, let's talk about the game and why I think that South Carolina was successful in beating UConn last night. Now, here's the deal. Before we talk about that, I told y'all that I had a feeling that South Carolina might do it. I was strong on UConn pretty much all season. Yes, you can say UConn played a weak schedule. You can say all of that stuff. But the truth of the matter is UConn is still UConn. And I just don't think that they had that leader this year or that player who just would take over a game as they've had in the past. Not only do I think that, we saw that's what happened because nobody did that for UConn. And people can say what they want to say about Raven. I think she finished like 2 points last night, but you can't tell me that you did not know that Raven Johnson was on the court. Now, if you watch my videos, you do know that I am a South Carolina fan. And I am a fan of Raven Johnson. But I try to be unbiased. But it is what it is when it comes to Raven Johnson. She's not a scorer by nature by any means. Has she added that to her game? Yes. Is she still the best scorer? Absolutely not. But the way that she impacts a basketball game, you cannot deny her. And this is why Don Staley says that of all the players that she has coached, that she's going to miss Raven Johnson the most. Now, do we necessarily believe that? I don't know about all that, right? But Raven Johnson is an extension of Don Staley. And I always say this about a championship team. They haven't won yet. UCLA might do it. But every championship team has an extension of the coach on the court. And Raven Johnson is that to South Carolina. She is a Don Staley on that basketball court. Am I saying that she played like Don Staley? I am not saying that. But what I am saying is the things that Coach Staley tells them, Raven re-emphasizes that on the court. She holds them accountable. She pushes her teammates. She is that fire that they get in the huddle. She is that on the court. She is an echo of her coach. And that is why they have made it to this championship game. But let's talk about it. So as the game started out, we saw both defenses come out on fire. I put this in my post. Parents, coaches, players, athletes, whatever you are, if you play basketball and you want to know what defense looks like, then you need to go back and watch that South Carolina UConn game because they were in the passing lanes. They were up in them. They were pushing the offense back. They were hustling. They were playing defense and giving effort. And if you're not doing this, then know this is what it takes in order for you to get to a UConn, South Carolina type level. If you're not playing that type of defense, then you might not be ready to play on that level. Does it start once you get to a South Carolina or a UConn? Absolutely not. It needs to start right now when you go to practice. Not a game, but practice. Don't you think that Gino and Don demand that out of their players every day at practice? That's not something that you just, oh, it's game time, we're in the Final Four, that you turn on. No, those are habits that are built. But going back to my point, I got excited there a little bit. But defense, we saw both teams come out playing great defense. Not gonna lie, I got scared at first because Olcott came and shot some bad shots. Like one hit the side of the goal. I think maybe one was an air ball. I don't know what it was, but she was shooting too many jump shots for me. And I should have known, like, South Carolina was going to settle in. But UConn's defense was good, so I was like, oh no, this ain't going to work. We don't want to live with Olcott shooting jump shots. Does she have a beautiful shot? Absolutely. But Olcott should not be your first option shooting jump shots. Not at all. But we see that, we also saw that this was a fast-paced game. I even think that Rebecca Lobo said something about it. They were getting up and down. And my mom was watching, and I was like, this is a fast-paced game. She said, somebody's going to get tired. And I think we saw that out of UConn the second half. I think it wore on them, especially with South Carolina's transition offense. But they were going back and forth, and neither coaches were calling the timeouts. And this is also what scared me with South Carolina at the beginning of the game, was I felt that they were not taking advantage of every possession. And the reason why I'm saying this is about South Carolina is because when you are going to take down a juggernaut in UConn, then every possession counts. You cannot wait to the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter in order to make every possession count. No, it starts at tip-off, and Latson traveled a little bit. She switched her pivot feet, and I was like, nah, this ain't good. We can't have those turnovers like that. But then here we go with our girl, Gotti, aka Makir. Makir has shown her tail in this tournament. We see why she is one of the best freshmen in the country by how she has been performing in this tournament. She hit a big three, a deep three, a big important three at that. But I had both teams were playing good defense. I already said that. And at Joyce Edwards, I'm not gonna lie, I go back and forth with her. At sometimes I'm like, okay, Joyce, I see you. Then at other times I'm like, Joyce, what are you doing? And so sometimes I see her playing big girl basketball, but then sometimes I see her go back to playing little girl basketball. And I know, I don't talk about Joyce. You know, she's a Gamecock, but I'm just telling it like it is. I think that you can get more out of Joyce Edwards. I like her being aggressive offensively. I would like to see more of that. I think at times she plays laid back. But you saw last night when they would throw the ball into her and she would go to work on Sarah Strong, who is arguably the best sophomore. I mean, obviously she was just voted the best player in the country, but we saw Joyce take it to her at times. I'm like, yes, Joyce, that's what I want out of you. If you can do it against Sarah Strong, then why can you not do it more often, no matter who you're playing? Because Sarah is technically the best of the best, right? But I saw glimpses, but then I would see to where she would hold the ball and they would take the ball from her. I'm like, nah, Joyce, we can't go back and forth like this. But all in all, she ended up having a good game. But just a little bit inconsistency there for me as far as not how many points she scores, but as far as effort is concerned. I believe that she could be more aggressive offensively. But we also see that one of the reasons why South Carolina won this game, and we saw it early on starting in the first quarter, is that they out-rebounded UConn. UConn wasn't necessarily getting those second chance points, and South Carolina was getting defensive. They were rebounds. They were just pounding them, and UConn did not have, I don't know what stat-wise it was, but I know that South Carolina absolutely out-rebounded UConn. So for the first half highlights I have, it was a defensive clinic. I said this from both teams. I mean, the score at halftime was like 20-something. That is low scoring for both of these teams. All the teams in the Final Four, but especially, talking about this game, it was low. So we know that it had to be a defensive game. I said both teams were not making shots, and I said it could be because of the defense and the energy that they were using. And a lot of times when you are not making shots, and these are high percentage shot making teams, right? They're not teams who shoots in the 20s, even 30s. I believe that they shoot at a higher percentage. And so when you see AZ, who's been off, but when you see them missing these shots, I mean, we're in April. So they're it could be, some fatigue, but they were playing hard. We saw that. Well, that's the next game. I'll save that. But anyway, what also was kind of scary for South Carolina, but I figured that this was good for South Carolina, was that Raven Johnson picked up 2 quick fouls. Now, we can argue about that second foul, but the ref who was on TV said it was because of that hand that was in her back, and that's why they called the foul. But in saying that, South Carolina was only down by like 2 at the half, right? So that's a good sign. If South Carolina can hang in there with Raven Johnson, the heart of their team, on the bench, then that's a good sign for South Carolina that second half. All right, so let's get into this third quarter. I put that South Carolina was not finishing. I remember specifically, Raven got a rebound. She got like 3 rebounds in a row and tried to put it back, and it was a lid on there. They were not making easy shots, and I was like, oh man, this is not good. But then I have that, South Carolina was not finishing. Neither was UConn, but I'm just saying, I've already talked about this, but we saw Raven's defensive impact. And this is why Raven and Rory, to me, and Hannah Hidalgo are some of not only the best point guards in the country, but they are some of the best players, because even when they're not scoring, then they are affecting the game in another way. And that's what your point guard is supposed to do. A point guard, to me, does what needs to be done in order for your team to win. So if my teammates are not scoring, then I'm about to score. If they need help getting rebounds, I don't care how tall I am, I'm about to go down there and help and get rebounds. If they need me to guard the best player on the court, that's what I'm going to do. And we see that out of, I believe, the top 3 point guards in the country, in Raven, in Hannah, and in Rory. We have seen it all season long, but I'm talking about Raven right now. But, I mean, her stamp was just all over this game. And this parents, if y'all have children and this is and they play basketball, this is what it's all about. It's not about only scoring. Because let's be honest, does scoring get you looks? Does it get you accolades? Yes, it absolutely does. But if a college coach is coming to see you play, or even a high school coach, then they want to see what else you can do other than score. Because when you play for them, a lot of times you are not going to be in that scoring role unless you just got it like that. But most of the time you're not. But Raven, she's one of those players that only really, like, if you pay attention to basketball like that for real, then you know how important and significant she is to the game. All right, but moving on. I said South Carolina was just faster than UConn. They had a more athletic team, and they just looked like that. So, I mean, UConn was hanging in there with them at first, but they just were getting up and down better. Their speed, in my opinion, was bothering UConn. And so, okay, so I said this when I was changing my picks about, I believe that one of the reasons why South Carolina was going to win is because of Raven Johnson. And I said this, but I also said that basically I would bet with Raven Johnson over AZ, because Raven is a winner. I'm not saying that AZ is not a winner, but what I am saying is that part of the reason why I hung my hat with Raven over AZ is because AZ had Paige, AZ had Sarah last year, and then in years prior to that, she had, she was not the main leader on their team in comparison to Raven, who has been starting since she was a freshman. So Raven knows how to win a championship. She knows how to lead a team. And she has that hunger. I did not see that out of AZ. And so sometimes it's good to have good teammates around you. I'm not saying Raven Johnson did not, but it's just a difference when you've been leading a team for 4 or 5 years, in comparison to, okay, you're supposed to be the main one this last year. That's a lot to expect out of a player. And so, AZ she looked scared at times. I thought that she was hesitant. She was not shooting her shots the way that she is accustomed to shooting. Yes, she did shoot, but she was off. I don't think that she was shooting with confidence. You almost got to have a forget how it turned out attitude. That is the Tarasi attitude. That's the Kobe. The Kobe mentality is like, all right, like it's an open shot. I don't care if I miss 30 shots. I'm still going to shoot this shot with confidence because I have practiced this over and over and over again. I don't care how many times I've missed it. The next one is going in. And I just didn't see that mentality or that dog out of AZ as I saw with Raven. So this is another reason why I picked South Carolina over UConn. But going back to Gotti. I said that Makir was an X factor and she is going to be a real deal problem because she's only going to get better. She's only going to get better. She's going to become more of a leader. She's going to get stronger. She's probably even going to get faster. I mean, she's already fast, but she's going to get stronger and just even more confident. And a more confident Makir than what she is right now because of the work that she puts in and how she's going to develop even more is a scary player. And it's going to be scary for whoever faces them in the future. I believe the same thing with Sarah Strong, but I'm talking about Makir right now. But we see Makir step up as she's been doing the whole tournament. And then we have, Ashlyn Shea stepped up for UConn. This was more so in the first half than it was for the second half. She was hitting some shots and playing good defense, but we did not see that in the second half. We saw it in the first half, and because it disappeared in the second half, then it ended up hurting UConn. I said that too many empty possessions for South Carolina. This is when, and then it started with this. I think South Carolina got a little comfortable, and you cannot get comfortable against UConn. I don't care if you are up by 20 points. It is UConn, and they have a standard. They fight, and they fight until the end. But when they started to create some separation, South Carolina that is, Joyce went to the line and missed 2 free throws, and I was like, that's not good. My dad came outside. I was watching on the porch, and he was like, and we both said it. We were like, now she missed those free throws. Now watch they come down and hit a 3. Little did we know it wasn't on that next possession, but I think it was on that following possession where UConn would hit not 1, not 2, but 3 threes and go on a 9-0 run. And this is when I got a little scared. I was on the phone with my friend. She called me and she was like, maybe we bad luck. And we were like, all right, bye. But this scared me because South Carolina got a little too comfortable, and you cannot get comfortable against UConn. So, Tessa. Let's talk about Tessa a little bit. Tessa had not really been going in the first half. UConn did a good job on her. She wasn't really shooting, but man, did they need those 5 points after UConn went on that run. Because it was looking like this could have been a pivotal point in the game to where UConn was going to gain the lead. But Big Tessa stepped up and scored 5 points. And I was like, thank God. But she stepped up. And this is the danger of South Carolina because you have... Okay, Raven is a threat. She has proven to hit big shots all year long. I still don't think of her like as an offensive person like that, but she has proven to step up when she needed to do. You got Raven, you got Latson, you got Tessa, you got Joyce, you got Okada around the basket, even though she don't be finishing and stuff like that. You got Makir, you got Okada. I already said that, but you get the point. You have not 1, not 2, not even 3, but you got 4 or 5 offensive scoring options out of South Carolina, which will make them hard to beat because chances are a lot of times that everybody is not going to be off. You can't just focus on one, and that is the danger of South Carolina. But let's go to the fourth quarter. I put AZ was off. She was still missing. I think she hit maybe like 1 3 or whatever, but it was just not her night. Let's be honest. It was not her tournament. I put KK Arnold had good defense. I think one time she stole the ball from Raven, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be real. KK, she's a solid point guard, but she didn't do much that game. And she's a pest. I give her that. But yeah, other than this, I really don't remember her out there. But I said UConn does a great job of tying the ball up. Like if you drop that ball, you have to be so fundamentally sound against a team like UConn because they're going to expose you. I did a video about Hannah Hidalgo, how you have to be so fundamentally sound. Everything your coach told you, everything your parents tell you, everything your trainer tells you, you have to do those things against a player like Hannah Hidalgo because they will expose you, meaning if you don't do those things, then she's going to get the ball. That's how UConn is. If you bring that ball down, like if it's a high rebound and you bring it down, and they are going to tie that ball up. And so I said they do a really good job of tying the ball up. Why is that important? Because it allows them to get extra possessions. There were a few times where they tied up South Carolina, which it was a jump ball, which meant arrow UConn's way. So I said they did a good job of that. I said McDaniel came in and she was aggressive. And I like that. When you are playing teams like UConn, when you are playing teams like South Carolina, UCLA, Texas, the key to even competing with these teams is not being hesitant. When you hesitate and when you question yourself, that's when you get in trouble. It's in these games like this that you rely on what you have been doing at training, what you have been doing every day at practice, because in those moments, when the lights are the brightest, that's when all of that needs to come out. And all you have to do is you trust it. That's why it's so important that you practice your butt off. Because if you try to do something in the game that you don't do at practice a lot of times, then it's not going to work out. But if you are accustomed to doing those things, then what's in you will come out. And so I'm just saying that because McDaniel was aggressive and it worked out for them. And it helped South Carolina, especially when Raven was not in the game. McDaniel was able to take care of the ball, hold her own, and even score at times. But I think what also kind of hurt UConn too is Blanca Quinones had some foul trouble. She is another one who I will be keeping my eyes on over the next couple of years, and starting with next year, because that girl can play. I know that she was playing with the Italian team, the pro team or whatever, when she was overseas at a young age, and you can tell she looks very polished to be a freshman, but she looks polished anyway. So she's going to be a problem. But that hurt UConn. I put Makira again, confident, which means she probably did something. But I said, Ocott. I've been on Ocott all season long, even though she just started playing basketball at 17. That don't matter. You play for South Carolina. And so we're not thinking that, she just played basketball, she just started playing basketball at 17. We're going to give her an excuse. No! The time is now to perform. But in saying that, I got to give Ocott, which is it's not really her. But I mean, it was just the way the game was going last night. That I think it was Latson. That's right. Latson went in for a drive. The ball ended up being tipped, blocked, or whatever, fell right into Ocott's hands, and she hit a timely layup. Now, she don't always finish, but she finished this one. And this was an important one. So shout out to Ocott just for staying with it and finishing. And then we got Latson. Latson played her butt off. She played well. I want to say, she had a double-double. But you can tell that she is enjoying being in this Final Four, or in the tournament. And you can tell that she wants to win. And I'm going to say this about Latson. Latson was the nation's leading scorer last year. And in order for you to take a step back and to go to a team where you will not be the primary option speaks about you as a person. Because first of all, you got to be humble in order to do that. And you got to put team before self. And I'm going to be honest, we don't have too much of that going on now. And not only that, it was really kind of a thing of beauty to watch her throughout the season, because there were times where I thought, come on, Latson, that doesn't look good. But she stayed with it. So not only was this a step of humility for her, but it was also perseverance because she didn't force anything, but she let the game come to her. And I can imagine that she had coaches in her ear. Hey, I just need you to play defense. I need you to do this. Your offensive game will come. And boy, is it coming now because she is looking to be aggressive. And we are reminded that Latson is who she was last year, that she has not lost the ability to score, but that she can still score. And no, there's no better time for her to have been playing like that than now. So I love what she has been doing this season, and I hope that she can cap it off with a championship. And so, and another thing is too, Raven wants to win for her. Like they won together at a high school level, and I know that Raven wants to win with her as a college teammate. How cool would that be to win championships with one of your best friends at high school and then go to college on the highest level and win a championship as well? That's super cool. Like I would love to do that with I'm old now, but I would have loved to do that with my best friend. But anyway, I said South Carolina pounded UConn on boards, and so that was pretty much that game. South Carolina, they outplayed UConn. They looked like they wanted it more. UConn, I think that Gino thought that they were going to come in and they were going to win. I think UConn thought the same thing. We saw some fight out of Sarah Strong in that first half. I think that, oh my gosh, that South Carolina did a phenomenal job on her, Raven Johnson. And they were just, South Carolina, to me, that was their best defensive game. And I think they're going to have their best defensive game Sunday as well. But I said that no defense looked like Texas or UConn's, but South Carolina proved me wrong yesterday. They had some phenomenal defense. And yes, UConn was missing shots, wide open shots, but let's be real. The reason why they probably were missing those shots had a lot to do with the physicality of South Carolina. And so when you get open shots, it's like, oh, they're not, the legs might be gone, they might be off because you're expending like so much energy throughout the game. So they did have open shots, but they did not capitalize off of them. And I think a lot of that is credit to South Carolina. All right, now let's talk about it. What the world of women's sports has been talking about. And that is the altercation of Gino and Don Staley. Now, I'm going to be honest. I've said on YouTube, I have said on TikTok, that's where I post my videos, that growing up, I was a UConn fan. My favorite player was Diana Taurasi. She's retired now. She still would be if she was playing. But I grew up in that era. And so I grew up in the era where UConn was dominant, where they were having these crazy runs, where they would win 80-plus games in a row straight without any losses, to where you didn't even question who was going to win the championship. It was going to be UConn. And Tennessee would be in there, sometimes, and they would sometimes go back and forth, but you knew it was not 2 years in a row that UConn was not going to win a championship. So, naturally, that meant that I liked Geno. My amor, oh my gosh. But anyway, I sided on the side of UConn more so than I did with Tennessee. So they were rivals. So I was a UConn fan opposed to a Tennessee fan. I know I said that. But last night, I was disappointed. I was highly disappointed. And of course, now I'm still a UConn fan. They're still my number 2. But Don Staley came along and she stole my heart from UConn, and now I am South Carolina because I love Don Staley that much. But going back to what I was going to say. Last night, I was highly, highly disappointed in Geno Auriemma. And does he care that we, on social media, on YouTube or whatever, that we're disappointed? He doesn't. The man has 12 national championships. But, I'm just giving my little 2 cents. Because it was, as people have said, it was classless. And if we're going to get down to it, He was just a sore loser. And it's one thing, like he said it, to be able to win, but to know how to lose with grace, with integrity, takes a whole other level of discipline. How did he think the teams felt years ago who he was beating down? Imagine if a Don Staley, if a Coach Yo, if a and you know why I said them specifically, but imagine if they would have done the same thing that Gino would have done. And Gino talked about a double standard. Gino talked about everything that I just want to make sure is no double standard. I want to teach my team to lose with grace and integrity. Man, you did the exact opposite of that yourself. You talking about a double standard. The double standard is you being able to confront Don Staley the way you did and not publicly issue an apology or your job not being on the line because you're a bad representation to the university or because you are an emotional woman. So, last night was highly disappointing. I lost respect for Geno last night. And my childhood heart hates to say that because I love me some UConn basketball. In my opinion, they are the standard. And even though South Carolina is up and coming, or they're here, they are here. Don't get me wrong. UConn is a dynasty. They are legacy. When you think of women's basketball, you think that who's the best? Who's the greatest of all time? You think of UConn. I mean, look who all came through UConn. You got Rebecca Lobo. You got Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Swin Cash, Tina Charles. You got, I mean, the list goes, Breonna Stewart. But the list goes on and on and on. And so for Geno, I understand that he's getting older. And I know that older people say what they want to say. I mean, that's one of the things I look forward to when I get old is the fact that I can be able to say what I want to say. But you still, it was lack of accountability for your team shooting poorly, for your team not playing good of a game, and to not lose respectfully and to confront Don the way that he did. If you got a problem with her, have respect for the game, have respect for her and her team, and do it after the fact. But we know that Geno was heated all game long. He was going off to Holly before and after halftime talking about ripped jerseys. We saw that Sarah Strong was the one who ripped her own jersey. And like I said, he doesn't care that we are having these conversations. And that's kind of the sad part about it because he is who he is. And it's not going to make a difference. I mean, he's still the winningest coach of all time. But, I mean, there are just certain things that, and you see that winning isn't everything. Like, does everybody want to win? Absolutely. Does this make him less legendary? I don't think so. I think he's still a heck of a coach. But to me, it just takes away from him as a person in a way. The fact that he would stoop that low and do that the way that he did that. And not only did he do that, but he left his team. And that's something you don't do. You either riding or you dying. No matter what. I'm riding with you when things are good and when things are bad. I'm the captain of the ship and I'm going down first. And he didn't do that. He walked off and left them. That is a sore loser if I ever saw one. I mean, and the thing is, it was over a petty handshake. Now we know it was more than that because it was about him losing the game and his girls being out physicaled. But he said it was because of the handshake. How petty? How petty is that? Oh, you didn't shake my hand, so now I lost the game and I'm gonna confront you about not shaking. Come on, man. Really? Over a handshake? You that aggravated till you gonna hang on the whole game about a handshake? You're better than that, Geno. Or at least I thought. One of the things about getting older is that you grow to like and to love these people. And then as you get older, you see their character. And I'm not saying Geno's a bad guy, but that was a bad moment. And here's the thing, we all make mistakes, but what big people do is when they realize that they've made a mistake, first of all, you have to humble yourself. So that's number one. You have to humble yourself. And then when you have eyes to see, and it might not come from you, it might come from somebody else telling you, hey, you're wrong about this. And then just like you publicly made a scene, you need to publicly make a video, not something that's sent out, because I know there was some crap PR message, whatever, that went out that said, I apologize. No, you need to man up and you need to apologize, call Don, apologize, and you need to publicly apologize because you publicly made a spectacle out of something. So I believe when you publicly do that, you need to publicly apologize. That's humility. That's how I believe that you can earn some respect back. Because right now, you have lost, when I say you, Geno has lost a lot of respect from people. And like I said, does it take away from him as a coach? Absolutely not. He's still the greatest. But yeah, it was sad. I ain't gonna lie, it was good basketball. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. But, overall, you just hate to see it. You really hate to see it. So that's what my thoughts on that is. It wouldn't have even been an issue if they would have won. We all know that. He probably would have even made a joke about it, But everybody cannot lose gracefully. So, but anyway, let's talk about real quick UCLA, Texas. I ain't gonna talk about this long, but basically what happened was UCLA punched first. And Texas, in my opinion, did not look like the Texas that we saw in the SEC tournament and that we have been seeing throughout this tournament. If they are not that, then they subject themselves to losing a ball game because they can look very good at times. I thought that they looked like the best team in the country. And that's why I was like, Texas might win it all. And then last night, they did not look like that team. So I don't know what happened. And that was part of Texas's problem throughout the year was their inconsistency. And last night we saw that. And even with that, I think they only lost by like 7 or something. It was crazy. Even with Madison Booker having the worst game probably of her career. They only lost by a few points. But we saw that UCLA punch first. I said it even looked like at times that UCLA was being more physical than Texas, and we know that's not the SEC way. But they talked about how initially when they played them the first time, how they played off of Rory. That's why she had a career high and I think 26 points or something like that, 26, 28, something like that. But anyway, and they wanted to apply more pressure. I thought that they did a better job this time of applying more pressure defensively to Texas. Still shouldn't have been enough to stop Texas, but it was. All right, and then we saw that Texas picked it up defensively in that, I'm going to say maybe like that second quarter or so, and we started to see them come back a little bit, but still wasn't enough. Texas was, I said they were shooting poorly, and the reason I said that is because Madison Booker was shooting poorly, and I think that this is the game that she needed to have in order to become a beast next year. All players usually have that game to where they will remember before they for real become him or before they for real become her. I think she needed a game this bad before next year she dominates, because Madison Booker to me is like Michaela Williams to the point from LSU, and the fact that they are on cruise control and they can average 20 and 10 every game. So I think this is what she needed in order to go into beast mode. So I hate that Texas lost for them, but it's probably one of the best things that could have happened for Madison Booker and for Texas next year. Now, they won't have Rory, but my point guard behind, I think Preston is her name, something like that. She'll come in and be ready. But I said Rory was stepping it up offensively. Rory is just like that player. She reminds me of a Raven, right? To where they just get it done, whatever needs to be done. She didn't end up with many points, but she scored. She definitely needed some help. But I said Texas wasn't scoring. Madison Booker was off, and in the fourth quarter, she hadn't made a shot since the first quarter. And even with all of that, what's crazy is the fact that Texas was still in the game, and they had a chance at the end there to win the game. And it was almost and I remember Madison, man, at the end of the game, she had a wide open layup and she just tripped. And it was almost like a guy's way of saying, yep, not this year. Maybe next year, but not this year. And I think it was just like representative of the night that the night that she been having all night long. So I think that it was Texas' game to win. I thought that they lost it. UCLA did play well. I think that they did what they were supposed to do. And I have not watched too much of Lauren Betts. I saw her some last year and even this year, but she had a heck of a game. And what I mean by that is that to be 6'7" and to have the shot that she has, and to be able to run and have the control that she has with her body. Now, I know that she is a senior, but that's dangerous. And South Carolina, Ocott better be ready. And I think that Ocott would be a better matchup because of her size, but just the way that she alters your shots, the space that she takes up in the paint. This is why Tessa is going to be important for South Carolina tomorrow, Sunday, championship game. But, I mean, Lauren Betts is a problem. If you can contain her, South Carolina has a real shot. I got South Carolina anyway, but I definitely think they have a shot if they can contain Lauren Betts. But just her poise, her leadership, I thought that she did a great job of leading her team past Texas. She's a great vocal leader. I think that UCLA seniors, they showed last night, as crazy as it was, that I was not expecting, that they wanted to win the game more than Texas did. I don't know if Texas thought that they would just have it handed to them, that it would be easy because they had beaten them previously in the season, but UCLA was not going, and they showed that from start to finish. Now, they almost gave it up. I'm not gonna lie. They almost gave it up, but they were able to finish the game. So, all in all, last night was a great night of basketball, at least for me, because of South Carolina UConn game. Unfortunately, what happened with Geno, of course, and then the UCLA Texas game for real really wasn't a good game. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just happy because I got to see the women's Final Four game. But Sunday is going to be one. It's going to be interesting. I think that both teams have a chance to win the game. But I think if South Carolina does what South Carolina does, and they can contain Lauren Betts, like I said, I think that they will hoist the trophy. So that's my recap for this game. Let me know you guys' thoughts about UConn. Let me know you guys' thoughts about South Carolina, UCLA, Texas, and as everybody else is doing on YouTube or on social media right now, let me know what you guys think about that Gino Don altercation. But I will say this, that Don, even though she said, I'm going to whoop Gino's tail, she did a great job, I think, because as soon as somebody would have approached me like that, I don't think I would, but naturally you just want to pop real quick. But I'm glad that she withheld herself, and I think that she said that she's about integrity, and I think that in her post-game interviews, she did a great job of not attacking Geno's character and just keeping the main focus, even though she did address it. She really didn't spend too much time on it, and she didn't say anything bad about Geno, and I think that speaks a lot to her character. And I also think that's one of the reasons why they are going to win Sunday, is because she has proven to take that higher road. But anyway, that's all I got. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, and as always, I appreciate y'all watching.